James, do you get the impression that because we are creating this sort of distinction between new media and old media, there is some form of competition amongst the two brands, and what old and new media, and one having to depend on the other, if you, as it were?
Is this what? I think there's competition between heritage media and non-heritage media, which is a bit different from old media and new media, which is a bit more about platform. But I think as we go forward, the distinction between heritage and non-heritage, falling down an old and new, will kind of go away as people start to view media as being essentially different brands who have different levels of trust, who then use different platforms to get their messages across, which might be some quite traditional means and some not so traditional means. So I think rather than trying to view things in terms of old media or new media, we should be thinking about what is the commodity that is actually fixed, it's actually finite, because all the other things that used to structure what would make a media house and what would make a kind of a unit of media production, a magazine or a news program, those costs are being disrupted quite substantially. A lot of them are trending towards not zero but very low. But the one thing that is that cannot be done away with and should now be the thing we think about is time. So that's the time of our audiences, and when we fit into the time and how much time we have, and I think that's how we should view platforms, and also our time in creating that which we are trying to give to our audiences. And I think those are the ways we should be thinking, rather than which bit of it's new and which bit of it's old. And then one final thing about it, I would say, is that there's this kind of idea that old and heritage equals ethics and traditional practice, but I don't think that has to be the case. I think you can have lots of traditional skills, but applied to new forms with a code of ethics and understanding of what you're trying to do in this kind of new way.
And Chinedu, you work within the digital space. Do you get the sense that it gives you some form of superiority over your colleagues who probably still work with the traditional or old media, as it's called?
Okay, so superiority, no, because I believe that it's a knowledge-based industry. So if I was to say that we weren't learning from the past, it's a lie. Okay, so how I'll put it this way is that there is no, I look at it as a blur, because traditional, yes, but we have a lot to learn from the past. And in future thinking, right, we also have a lot to predict towards the future. But we're here, we're in present, it's now. So what exactly is happening now is what we capitalize on, okay? And that is what we see manifesting, as digital at the moment. So if you look at the people that power this, what we call digital now, it's everybody in this room. And will we be safe to say that we didn't progress from one point to the other? It's not safe to say, because there's history to show that. So at some point in time, traditional media, as we coin it, was based on things like television, radio, and it's been progressing towards what we know as the internet now. And not just even the internet, because I even feel the internet is yesterday. Today, now, it's mobile. So everybody keeps saying mobile, mobile. That is where we are now, mobile. And with mobile, most of us as agencies must be able to use mobile to reach, because we're in the business of influencing, opinions and decisions. So we must be able to understand that what mobile is, it's not technically just your mobile phone. It's just the fact that the consumer who we try to interact with, on the sake of on the representation of a brand, which is our organization, is mobile. And that mobility has given them the power to, interact in a different way that you need to understand. And also to play the devil's advocate, I can throw in a thinking that in the future, it might not necessarily be mobile anymore. So the buzzword now is the Internet of Things. And if you think about it closely, what it essentially is just, so the internet has come, we have smartphones now. Who says we can have smart chairs or smart eyeglasses? You get, but the point here is that that blur should be recognized, because I wouldn't want to say we should have that fight of, well, superior. We're all progressing, we're all learning, we're all targeting the consumer, and we're all influencing the consumer's opinion on the sake of brands. That's essentially what we are doing as agencies.